Supposedly, nobody likes the bearer of bad news, but that expression doesn't apply to the Silver Surfer. This classic comic book character has ties to the Fantastic Four and serves as the herald of the planet-consuming villain Galactus. As the MCU expands into the universe with heroes like Captain Marvel and the Guardians of the Galaxy, it seems like only a matter of time until this Space Waste Sentinel shows up on the big screen. In fact, it's possible he could show up at some point during the fourth phase of Marvel movies.
Even your mind is a new page on which I shall write. Arise!
Unlike many of the other highly anticipated comic book characters I'm hoping to see in the MCU, the Silver Surfer has been on the big screen before in Fantastic Four: Rise of the Silver Surfer. But this film is widely considered to be, not the best, and its performance was so underwhelming that it caused the planned Silver Surfer spin-off to be cancelled. So you can't blame me for being hopeful that we'll get to see the Silver Savage fly into the MCU during Phase 4. Norrin Radd was born on the planet Zenla and was a brilliant man who eventually got bored with his rather mundane life. But in a classic case of be careful what you wish for, he soon had a ton of excitement when Galactus showed up to devour his home planet. In exchange for Galactus sparing Zenla, Norrin agreed to act as his herald and was transformed into the sleek Silver Surfer being he is today. At first, watching an entire world get destroyed kinda bummed him out, so Galactus altered his mind to suppress his emotions and make dealing with his job a little bit easier. The Silver Surfer is a great character on his own, but when you consider the fact that he's paired with the epic villain Galactus, the idea of him showing up in the MCU is incredibly exciting. And it's clear that Disney is getting increasingly cosmic based on the lineup so far. Marvel films are moving away from New York City and away from planet Earth entirely. Just look at the Eternals, which Marvel Studios head Kevin Feige claims will fill in major gaps in the MCU's history. And I'm talking about missing pieces from thousands of years ago. The Eternals are incredibly powerful ancient beings. Although they settle down on Earth, they're not limited to this particular planet. At one point in the comic books, the Eternal Circe willingly exiled herself to the Ultraverse. Just to give you an idea of how wild their stories get, the addition of these characters to the MCU is a big deal, and could easily pave the way to incorporating Galactus into the story. But it would make a lot of sense to have his herald show up before the giant planet-destroying monster. After all, Galactus is more powerful than Thanos, and Marvel laid a lot of groundwork before the Mad Titan finally showed up in something besides the post-credit scenes of Avengers. Considering the fact that the MCU is continually getting more cosmic, it doesn't seem crazy to think that the Silver Surfer could be showing up shortly. The big question now is, when can we expect to see him on the big screen?
Go, my Silver Surfer. The spaceways beckon.
Even though Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 isn't scheduled for Phase 4, it seems like a safe guess for when the awaited one might make an appearance. After all, the Guardians travel throughout space, and we know they're the kind of idiots who live in the universe and are thus motivated to protect it. After battling against Ego the Living Planet in Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2, and Thanos during Infinity War and Endgame, our heroes could definitely use a new ultra-powerful villain to show off their skills against. So with that in mind, it doesn't seem too surprising when director James Gunn seemingly confirmed that the Silver Surfer and Galactus would show up during the third movie. Screenshots of a fan asking the possibility of their debut started circulating around the internet. Combined with Gunn's alleged response, "I've had some discussions." Interesting. There are always plenty of alleged leaks and spoilers out there when it comes to Marvel movies, but this one claimed to come from the director himself. It's not surprising that fans were excited about this, but sadly, it turned out not to be true. James Gunn himself took to Instagram in order to clarify that he never answered this question, and the screenshot is 100% fake. He also continued to crush all of our hopes and dreams by saying that he's never discussed the possibility of incorporating the Silver Surfer and Galactus into the Guardians of the Galaxy movies. I know my heart is broken too, but let's not lose hope quite yet, because there are a lot of other great movies coming down the pipeline that could work with these characters. But even though the Guardians might not run into the Silver Surfer, they could be connected to his appearance. At the end of Avengers Endgame, we saw Thor taking off with the the Asgardians of the Galaxy. Since Thor Love and Thunder is coming out well before the third Guardians, it might be the God of Thunder who ends up encountering the Silver Surfer first. There was definitely a tiny bit of tension between Thor and Star-Lord, so it's possible the crew will get split up, or Star-Lord will forget Thor on some distant planet. In the comics, Thor and Silver Surfer have battle against one another, when the latter was being manipulated by who else but Loki. These two have also worked together, like when they fought against Durok the Demolisher. In fact, there was a point when Thor took over as the Herald of Galactus. You'd think being the harbinger of a planet destroyer would have better job security, but apparently not. Thor becoming the Herald of Thunder would be a major plot point, so it's possible Marvel would want to build up until that point instead of throwing the Silver Surfer and Galactus and Thor's transformation into Love and Thunder.
Yes.
But we do know that while Chris Hemsworth will be reprising his role as Thor in the movie, Jane Foster will be getting an upgrade by becoming Mighty Thor. The God of Thunder will presumably give up his name just like he gave up the throne of Asgard to Valkyrie during Avengers Endgame. Since joining with the Guardians clearly isn't going to work out long term, maybe Thor will be in need of a new gig. And when you're a superhero, it's not like you're gonna have to start driving for Uber. Let's get back on track before I start thinking about if Thor would even be able to get a driver's license. Now there's a Disney Plus show I'd watch. The Silver Surfer could meet Thor in outer space in Love and Thunder. Establishing a relationship or even having him travel to Asgard could help set the scene and build anticipation for major comic book storylines to play out in the MCU. The Silver Surfer could end up acting as a herald for not just Galactus, but the Fantastic Four as well. There are plenty of fans who believe Marvel's first family can't join the MCU fast enough, and introducing the Silver Surfer could make it easier to bring on the Fantastic Four. Another exciting possibility for his debut is the movie Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. Since it features two heavy hitters, the Scarlet Witch and Doctor Strange, and the inevitable craziness of the multiverse, it really seems like anything could happen. Plus, Doctor Strange and the Silver Surfer have collaborated in the comics. When Strange formed the Defenders with Namor and the Hulk, he tried to recruit the Silver Surfer, who didn't join at first but ended up helping out later on. Although this exact same team-up might not happen in the MCU, it wouldn't be totally surprising to see the Silver Surfer and Doctor Strange team up to deal with serious threats to the multiverse. As much as I hate to admit it, it's possible that the Silver Surfer might miss the cutoff of Phase 4 and end up joining the MCU during its 5th phase. Captain Marvel is currently one of the most powerful characters, and as she told Rhodey during Endgame, Earth isn't the only planet that regularly faces diabolical threats. She spends most of her time in space and feels responsible for helping the Skrulls establish a new base of operations. So it's safe to say that she would definitely be at odds with Galactus, which means we could easily see her interacting with the Silver Surfer. As I mentioned earlier, the Silver Surfer often fought side by side with another character we haven't seen yet in the MCU, Namor. There have been rumors that we might finally get to see Submariner in Black Panther 2, and if that's the case, maybe we'll get to see the Silver Surfer too. After all, the first Black Panther featured one of the MCU's most compelling villains, so they're really gonna have to step it up for the sequel.
Tragedy becomes triumph, and triumph turns tragic once more.
I know it's easy to get excited about the prospect of a big baddie like Galactus joining the MCU, but let's not forget that the Silver Surfer is an awesome character on his own. He has connections to folks like Galactus and the Fantastic Four, and he's done plenty of incredible things on his own that would be amazing to see in a movie. Galactus is definitely powerful, but so is the Silver Surfer. He's punched the Incredible Hulk in the face, defeated Cable, and has resisted telepathy from mighty characters like Moondragon and Professor X. These are definitely a few fights I wouldn't mind seeing in the MCU. Mephisto is a villain I would love to see in the MCU since he's incredibly powerful and rules over his own evil pocket dimension. Although I can definitely see the challenge here since he's pretty much the devil. He would also be determined to break the Silver Surfer's spirits by kidnapping his ex, Shala Bal. But few things can bring the Surfer down, and this wasn't one of them. Even though the Silver Surfer is known for working for Galactus, he's fought against him as well. He managed to trick Galactus using his powers of illusion, and has battled valiantly against his master on multiple occasions. In the coming of Galactus, he decides that Earth is a planet worth saving, which puts him in direct opposition of his master. But with some help from Reed Richards and Uatu the Watcher, the day is saved when Galactus is convinced to get his fill somewhere else. Even though the Silver Surfer opposes him, it's kinda complicated, since Galactus is a huge source of his powers. But that changed in Guardians of the Galaxy number 25, when he receives a massive boost from a Renegade Watcher. He has the power to destroy Galactus, but decides against it, and instead uses his energy to satiate his seemingly insatiable hunger. I'm not going to sit here and pretend that I don't want to see huge outer space battles featuring the Silver Surfer. But he's not just popular because of his sleek style or awesome powers. He's steadfastly righteous, and is often forced to make extremely difficult judgment calls. This is the kind of thing non-superpowered humans can relate to, and it's why so many of us can't get enough of the MCU and its cast of relatable yet powerful characters. Sure, I'd love it if Silver Surfer brought along his friends like Fantastic Four and Namor, but if we end up with just him, I definitely won't be complaining.
Okay, you win.
The Silver Surfer is definitely a character I'd love to see on the big screen sooner rather than later. Are you hoping for a timely debut, or are there other characters you believe should have priority? Tell us what you think in the comments section, and don't forget to click on the subscribe button for more videos from us here at CBR. Bye for now.